Into our very first panel discussion, and our topic is becoming India's talent capital. Can we have the video, please?
Chennai gave India its manufacturing muscle.
We are the healthcare capital that heals the nation.
We built one of India's largest IT and engineering ecosystems while everyone was looking at Bangalore.
We are the safest metro in India, but the world doesn't know it yet.
Our culture runs 200 years deep. The talent pool here is unmatched.
We are ready. 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 We are ready.
We are ready.
We are ready.
Are we ready? Okay, awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our wonderful panelists to take the stage, starting off with Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, Managing Director of the Avatar Group. She is a pioneering voice in workplace diversity and inclusion and is building inclusive, future-ready talent ecosystems. Dr. Soundarya, we're excited to have you with us here today. Welcome. Can we have a round of applause? Next on stage, I'd like to call upon Mr. K. Pandyarajan, Chairperson and Executive Director, CIEL HR Group. An entrepreneur and policy thinker, Mr. Pandyarajan has spent decades shaping India's talent and skilling landscape. Welcome. We also have with us Mr. Anil Srinivasan, renowned musician, founder of Crew and Rhapsody. He is, besides being a celebrated musician, he is an education entrepreneur. Anil blends art, innovation, and learning to nurture creative talent. Welcome, Anil. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Chandru Chakrapani, founder of Pyogic Solutions. He brings deep insight into digital transformation and the evolving technology talent ecosystem. And of course, our moderator for today, Mr. John Xavier, technology editor, The Hindu. He has sharp editorial perspective, and John tracks the pulse of technology and innovation, and he will be leading this very, very interesting panel discussion. John, over to you.
Thank you. So I'd like to kick it off from the early talk Dr. Radhakrishnan gave. So all of that, what he said, we second, but it wouldn't be possible without talent. So that's where our panel is going to focus on. We have an esteemed panel of people who come from very different, they've taken a different route to talent. So on that note, I'd like to share a couple of points. So just before this panel, I wanted to do a little bit of research on what's really happening in Chennai around talent. So one of the key indicators that I was able to see is there's a lot of senior leadership focus that's happening in the city. And at the same time, there's also deployment in the MSME side. And there's a higher level of gross enrollment ratio in the city and Tamil Nadu in general. Keeping that as the backdrop, I'd like to start off with Mr. Pandyarajan to give a background on how we are placed in the talent landscape. On the fact that there's a lot of senior leadership demand in the city and there's a lot of focus in automotive and industrial services. But how are we doing well in other sectors, and what's the scope for junior level talent? So if you could kick it off from there, that'd be fantastic.
Thanks to Super Chennai. I think it's a great initiative. First, let me recognize that. I think CREDAI supported, funded, initiative. I see this as a very, very critical initiative at this point. I always felt that Chennai, like its people, is very understated, low profile, and it's time that there is some institution which showcases Chennai, all its pluses, and also emerges as an advocacy institution, to say what needs to be done. I mean, I think there are two components to it, and I would be delighted to welcome an initiative like this, especially supported by an institution like CREDAI, which, the first point I want to put across is, if we were to look at the positives of Chennai from a talent landscape, I think very, very strong institutions and professional bodies. I would put that in that order, whether it is the IIT Chennai or whether it's, I think the institutions of culture, I think we are far ahead of anybody else, any other city. If I were to just take the other 6 cities in India as a comparison, but I think it's very unsung. So, classical thing is, when I was a Minister of Culture in this state, when we tried applying for UNESCO Creative City Network, we got that around 2017 at that time. And very few people in the jury knew about even our December music season. And very little did they realize that nowhere in the world, in a month's time, having over 3,000 events happen within a city, it's not happening anywhere else, whether it's the carnivals or whatever else that you see around the world. So it shows how unsung we are in this city. The cultural talent, which later as a pro-chancellor of Music and Fine Arts University, which is the name of Dr. Jayalalitha, when that got created here, I realized, other than Vishwabharati, there is no other equivalent music and fine arts university like we have here. And the sports university, that was the first time a state government set it up in the whole India, if you really realize. So the kind of vision with which institutions of talent nurturance have happened in Chennai, very, very few places have done in India. I think, in my view, IIT Research Park, for instance, when it got created, I remember the day it was inaugurated, and with that's the research park in India which has nurtured the maximum number of deep tech entrepreneurs. You'll be surprised, if you compare with many other initiatives in the country. And same way, if you take TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs, which is, world's largest entrepreneurship nurturance body. Their TIE Chennai is far, far ahead of any other chapters anywhere in the world, including the place where it was born in, California. Including the California chapter, Chennai chapter is actually 20 times larger than the place it was founded. You'll be surprised, the kind of personal boards. So the kind of entrepreneurial nurturance which you get in Chennai with IIT Research Park, TIE, and the venture capital ecosystem, you don't really get anywhere else, really speaking. At least in India, you don't get it anywhere else. And when I say institutions, I'm not only talking of educational institutions. Yes, there are pluses, minuses in the educational institutions. Often questions of quality versus quantity, very dominant. But if you really see the industrial infrastructure, starting with Ambattur, Asia's largest industrial estate. I don't know how many of you realize that the first place in India where the idea of industrial estates was conceived was in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. We have 54 industrial clusters in Tamil Nadu, and Ambattur is still, from the time the Englishmen came and brought bicycle manufacturing into India, which is in Ambattur. Most of us just pass by. We don't realize that the first time a bicycle was manufactured, it was in Ambattur. Okay, and from there, every component of it getting manufactured right here. The seeds were sown almost 90 years ago, if you really realize the industrial infrastructure that we've created. Down to in the last 5 years, if you were to see the kind of apprenticeship ecosystem which has been created. I don't know how many of you realize that Chennai has the largest number of apprentices anywhere in India. The NAP scheme, NAT scheme. I'm talking about Chennai as an urban conglomerate. If you really look at the urban conglomerate, which has around 1.5 crores of people at the moment. Don't go by the 2011 census, which will still say 67 lakhs of people live here. It's almost 1.5 crore if you have to equate it to the national capitalist region, the national capital region, NCR, if you had to put a Chennai capital region, it would be close to 1.5 crores of people. And this has the largest concentration of apprentices in the whole country. The culture of mentoring, the culture of apprentices has been there in the grain of this city for a long time. So I would, one, educational institutions, two, I think industrial infrastructure, and three, of course, a lot of investment ecosystem, which also has of late gathered here. Add to it the GCC model, which in the last 7-8 years, Tamil Nadu has grown, Chennai has grown to be the second highest number of GCCs in the country. About 250 is what I roughly recall now. But some of them are very marquee. You have the world's largest shipping companies setting up a GCC here, and it's extremely diverse. The GCCs are not confined to IT in Chennai. Okay, so it's actually such a surprise that the Chennai doesn't get its due as a livable city. You go to Bangalore, the kind of traffic jams. You go to Mumbai, the kind of atmosphere of extremely strong financial infrastructure, but extremely poor industrial infrastructure of late. And don't forget, most of the trade union issues in India started in Mumbai, starting with the textile strikes, Datta Samant. All the gory industrial issues, even including Maharashtra for Marathis, kind of a movement which happened at some point in time, emergence of Shiv Sena. I don't think Chennai has ever had an industrial peace issue. Actually, never. Even compared to a Coimbatore, if you were to really look at, Coimbatore had at some point a militant trade union movement. Here, never had a Chennai seen that. So in terms of the industrial ecosystem, bedrock on which Chennai stands today, is another very positive thing for talent here. So if I were to dare say Chennai is the talent capital of the country, I would only say it's one of the strong talent capitals in the country. And it's very well poised towards becoming the talent capital of India, I would say. I would really not go to the extent of saying this is the talent capital, because when the IT bus started around Bangalore, I think we missed the bus initially. And I think when we started catching up with more of IT years, and then the SaaS wave, we capitalized heavily. 39% of the SaaS professionals are in Chennai. Okay, you have starting from Zoho to Kissflow, you have a range of people, talent which has come here. Many of them are migrated from around the country, not really from Tamil Nadu alone. Okay, but today, as the SaaS wave is ebbing and the AI wave is rising, I see Chennai come in a little stronger thanks to networks like IIT Research Park, which has been focused on deep tech, and almost half of them are AI-centric kind of organizations. And I believe that this wave, we will ride it strongly, in my view. And I think as we progress, the key role is the government, which need to play a key role, which I believe with the impending change in the government, things could improve. In my view, the last 4 years, I see the investment in talent and the ecosystem could have been far better. But I think in terms of a certain continuity we've had in Tamil Nadu, irrespective of the government changes, there's a certain continuity in terms of policies. I would like to see a lot more of infrastructural investment in Chennai, especially the Kuvam cleanup and resettlement of people. There's been some efforts, but I think one of the brand deletion which is happening is largely because of the physical infrastructure, which can actually be miles ahead of where we are, in my view. If you really were to talk of attracting talent to come here a lot more than what we are. I think we have a great social system. But I think we can do with a lot more of infrastructural investment. That's the only point I like to leave behind. But still, with a strong base of government schools, as distinct from many other states, if you were to see. You know, today many of our corporation schools can give a run for the money for the good private schools. You have a C.K. Prahalad kind of a guy coming from a Nungambakam corporation school who literally ruled the world, management thought. So you have, I think that's a very important base. Of course, Kamraj laid the foundation for the government school infrastructure in this state. And the last effort towards getting the alumni to invest in the government schools, in my view, has been a phenomenal success. Okay, we have almost 1,000 crores come into the government schools in the last 4 years. And I would also see, people like Anil, the initiatives like carrying music to schools. Some of these very innovative initiatives have happened in Tamil Nadu, especially Chennai. And I think most of them remain unsung, or his initiative of CREDAI by bringing in world-class gurus to come and interact with the school students, or getting a school student in Chennai to do a project with someone in Netherlands or UK or whatever. I think there are very, very powerful initiatives which are strengthening the institutional infrastructure in Tamil Nadu. Unfortunately, many of them are remaining in the private stream. And I think you have, when I was the education minister here, there was quite a bit of investments we made, in strengthening the school infrastructure. And I really think we need to recognize the foundations of our talent base here, which is the school system. And the college system, of course, after liberalization, where we had the capitation fee model, there has been a proliferation, there has been a strong soft infrastructure, but I think in terms of the quality of the instructions, quality of the education, it need to go a lot faster, a lot higher, with the islands of excellence of the kind that I was speaking about, need to spread into an ocean of excellence, which I think we need to really work towards. I think I would only say we have a very strong base to become the talent capital of India. But
I think I'd like to take that one interesting ball that he threw and take it to Dr. Soundarya on us leaving the IT bus, where he pointed out that Bangalore took it up and now we are slowly catching up on AI. I'd like you to touch upon that and also give a broader idea of where women are placed in the overall talent ecosystem. What's the representation? You could also tie it back to the gross enrollment ratio and whether we are really giving that powerhouse to the city.
Sure. Thank you. Speaking after KPR, sir, is always putting somebody at a really disadvantageous position. And you have to then match the data and the inputs that he has given. One small suggestion to the organizers, please give him a keynote next time. He has so much to share. There is just so much of experience and, diversity of data that KPR sir can bring. Seriously, I mean, I really mean that, I really mean that. So Chennai, did it miss the bus? Now, I have a contrarian view here. I firmly believe that Chennai has stuck to what it does really well, which is build deep systems, build very, very strong foundation. And if you look at it now, with times changing and with things always kind of, coming back in a way that we would never expect it, I think Chennai is poised in a very, very powerful way to actually ride the AI wave. I think in other cities, especially cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad, and by the way, I have a very personal, reason for wanting us to really, really show that Chennai is super. My son works in Hyderabad and I'd love for him to come to Chennai. And every time I try to present a Chennai favoring thing to him, he has 10 points to show how Hyderabad beats Chennai, and he's a Chennai boy, having grown up here, studied here, done everything here. So I'd really love for some powerful, points to arm ourselves as Chennai citizens to kind of, present to our children who are choosing to live elsewhere. So whether you take a Hyderabad or you take a Bangalore, what they have done is they have definitely, created systems which attract talent that are for the tech industry and have actually, created very, very good credibility for the city in terms of growing that talent. However, when you look at AI, and to just quote Professor Kamakoti, the fact that students who did engineering across different systems who wanted to quickly migrate to the softer, easier aspect of technology, which is, computers and coding, and that kind of ability to kind of shift, to retain them in core engineering, I think Chennai is really super at it. So that's the first point. The second point is with regard to Chennai being a great city. Now, I just have to give you a very quick introduction about myself. My name, of course, is Dr. Soundarya Rajesh. I'm the Managing Director of Avatar Career Creators Limited. We are an organization that works in the space of workplace culture consulting and women's workforce participation. My co-founder and COO, Mr. Umashankar, is there in the audience. And we have one of the reasons why I think I'm here on this panel is because my company produces India's only list of the top cities for women in India. And we produce this list every year for the past 4 years. And the first 2 years, Chennai was number 1 on that list. So we rate 125 cities in India, and we look at 3 different categories. We look at industrial inclusion, social inclusion, and we look at what is called as the city inclusion score, which is how does the city fare with ease of living index? How is it safe for women? How does it provide opportunities for careers for women? Does it actually help the woman be a mother, a caregiver, a professional, a student, a second career woman returning back into the workplace after a break? Which city does this best is what we try and rank 125 cities in India. And like I mentioned, the first 2 editions, Chennai was number 1. This year and the year prior, Bangalore is number 1. And Chennai is number 2. Didn't fall too below, but still, it is at the 2nd position. Now, what makes Chennai number 1? What made Chennai number 1? And what has made it number 2 now? I'll just very quickly touch upon that. So, Chennai has had, and when KPR sir was speaking, I was just going back in time to when, he was a minister, and also the kind of legacy which Chennai has had over the years. And one of the things that comes through very clearly as far as Chennai is concerned, you could call it Dravidian politics, you could call it politics of empowerment, you could call it politics for the downtrodden, whatever you call it. The fact is, Chennai has put in deep roots to make sure that anyone who's marginalized is included. It could be people who are, persons with disability. It could be people belonging to traditionally underprivileged classes. It could be women. Now, you may be wondering, why am I including women alongside with people who are marginalized or underprivileged? But in India, that is the truth. Women do form a big majority of talent, of individuals who really have not got their due. But as far as Chennai is concerned, I think we had some phenomenally visionary leaders who really looked at it, whether it was catering to the vote bank or not. That is not a topic that I am qualified to speak about. But I can very well say that the kind of deep infrastructure, the kind of educating of the populace, of retaining in the top of mind of the intelligentsia, to say that women are critical to progress was something that Chennai did a long years back. And because of that, today, just a random number, Chennai stands highest as far as ease of living is concerned at 62.1 on the index. Chennai has the highest proliferation, 28% across the country, of factories which employ 1,000 people or more, of which, I'm not talking only about Chennai, but also extending to Tamil Nadu, 48% of all women in manufacturing are from Tamil Nadu, and a majority of them are in Chennai. Now, this cannot happen overnight. And I'll tell you why, because as an organization that works in not only supporting corporates to actually become talent magnets for women, we also work with a lot of cities. Because we produce this list, we have city infrastructure leaders who come to us and say, what can we do to make, for instance, Jaipur a talent magnet for women? What can we do, if we are to look at Almora? What can we do if we are to look at Kohima? So we do have these conversations, and I cannot tell you the extent to which I feel grateful that I was born in Chennai. I mean, I live in Chennai. I was born in Bangalore. I'm sorry, I have to say that is the truth. But I'm so grateful that I am in Chennai. I, did my studies, my PG, everything in Pondicherry, got a job at Citibank in Chennai and came to Chennai. And within 3 years, the 3 M's happened for me: marriage, maternity, motherhood. And then I decided to take a break in career. That was right here at Shakti Towers on Mount Road, where the Chennai Citibank office used to be. Fantastic, fabulous office. One of the early, what we today are taking great pride about, say, Tidal Park or, any of the OMR regions where you find carpets where if you drop a pen, it will go plush into the carpet, and the restrooms are so great. That used to be Shakti Towers and Citibank of 1990s. And having worked there, and after taking that 3-year break, I realized that I was missing my identity, that of a woman professional, and I wanted to re-enter into the workplace. I looked around. Frankly, Chennai of those years was not very welcoming of women who had taken breaks in career. You know why? Because Chennai probably felt that the place of a woman was maybe at home. Maybe Chennai felt that it's better that gender roles are followed, that, women do what they are really good at, raise children, stay in the kitchen, do, that sort of thing. Or maybe Chennai's corporates weren't ready at that time. So I decided that rather than look for that elusive, corporate which is going to accept me, breaks and all, back into the workplace, why not create an organization that will only represent women that had taken breaks in career? And that is how Avatar was created. And till date, 100,000 women across the country have been placed by Avatar back into the workplace. 200,000 women have been trained and skilled and provided opportunities to re-enter. Over 800 corporates have been guided and advised by us to be inclusive. Of that, 14% of the corporates have headquarters in Chennai. These are inclusive companies that want to have a 50-50 gender balance in their workplaces. So forget making Chennai a great place for everything else. If we are looking at a Chennai which is truly inclusive and which believes that India is going to be a developed country by leveraging the power of women, then I can tell you Chennai is definitely poised to become super. Back to you.
Thanks, Dr. Soundarya. That's phenomenal to know. Putting women and into the inclusivity bracket and then placing them back after they come out to take a career break for whatever. So that's very interesting. And nice to know that you moved from Bangalore to Chennai and now your son has gone up to Hyderabad. So I'd like to take that and bring it to Anil, given you're on the creative side of talent. So how would you bring Dr. Soundarya's son, how will you lure him back to Chennai? And how are you doing that through all the work that you do? Maybe you could, kick it off from there.
Very interesting. I didn't know that was my role on this panel today. So Dr. Soundarya said it's very difficult to speak after KPR. Now I have to speak after KPR and Dr. Soundarya. So this is getting harder and harder. Let us just say that of all the panelists on stage today, I am the only one anatomically blessed to reflect light onto the audience. You're getting there. Thank you for this panel. Thank you to Super Chennai, to Ranjit, to Karthik, everybody who's been putting this together. What a great initiative. I want to piggyback on something that Dr. Soundarya said. Very quick background. Many people here know me as a musician. I also run a fairly large education company. KPR is one of our dearest mentors. More significantly, Mrs. KPR is our actual mentor. We were just speaking about it. The two initiatives that we run, but we have created initiatives to essentially unlock creative intelligence, both with government school children and private school children. We work with a very small number of over 7,70,000 children as of today. And this is an initiative that has been created out of Chennai. And like KPR said, we have brought in talent from across the world. A Harvard professor, a Stanford professor, a Princeton professor, all of them are Tamilians, are able to help our own children to find what their passion should be, what their pursuits should be, and create creative pathways. Especially in the age of AI, we've been investing very heavily into this. I wanted to say three things with respect to this. I think Chandru will add far more. We are absolutely right. KPR said this. Chennai, there's the one gap that we have is that we do not know how to talk about ourselves, right? If you compliment anybody in Chennai for anything, right? At a junior level, you go compliment somebody, they'll say, sir, na illa sir, ellam avanga dhaan pannanga. You go and tell somebody at a senior level, sir, na illa ellam team nala dhaan pannanga. You go speak to a founder and say, you've done a fantastic job. Sir, ellam kadavul nal sir, enak onnume theriyadhu. We have been brought up so much to keep on underplaying ourselves that we don't know how to talk about it. That's one big gap. I completely agree with KPR on that. Second is, somewhere somebody has told us that we should accept whatever has been given without complaint, without fighting for it. I find that a lot with, we have to demand that. I think Mr. Radhakrishnan started the day by saying that we have to learn to compete with the world's best and start pushing for higher standards in everything. We tend to accept things a little too much. We are too nice. I think we need to now start being a little not so nice. I was at the Impact AI Summit yesterday. That is an entertainment that I shall talk about later. What was I doing in the Impact AI Summit? A good question. Maybe it was not artificial intelligence, but Anil-less intelligence, but we will talk about that later. A large number of participation. I want to give you some statistics. In the United States alone, 38,884 professors are of Indian origin, of which 14,431 are Tamilian. Don't clap. See, we are clapping for everything, sir, these days. Somebody is tali kattifying on stage, also we are clapping. Okay. We should not be clapping that 14,000 people left. Okay. We should be wondering, why did they leave? Right? Why have we not created the systems? Why have we not created the mechanisms by which that talent should stay here, come back here, retain here, and train for here? Right? What is happening? We are all talking about IIT. IIT is one institution. IIT is a central government institution. Right? We need to be looking at the fact that if we have the second oldest medical college in the world, we have all of these great institutions. The world's second eye hospital was opened in Chennai. All these statistics were being given. Why are they not at a global standard today? Why does it all have to be left to the private sector? Why is it not happening in the public sector as well? This is a question. Another favorite topic to everybody in the audience. I shall let you all breathe for 30 seconds when I say the following two words. Chennai Airport. Right? If you've been to Bangalore Airport, you've been to Hyderabad Airport, you've been everywhere else. I know I was told not to compare. There is no comparison. Right? Try taking Uber in Chennai from the airport. You can write about it as an essay and win essay competition prizes on what are all the experiences you went through in order to create this. With the kind of infrastructure that we can have, every year, December, we all get into he was talking about December music season, we also have the December flood season, right? We have tremendous floods is everybody's favorite thing to talk about at December, right? That is the only time that Arnab Goswami will engage with Chennai. And he will put people like us into the panel and he will say the nation wants to know why Chennai is in this situation. And we always say we also want to know why Chennai is like this, right? But other than that, Chennai does not attract attention, right? He mentioned Zoho. I think as a SaaS ecosystem, we are the product of the imagination of the Sridhar Vembus of the world, right? The SaaS ecosystem in Chennai, the tech talent in Chennai, tech is much cheaper per resource compared to any other metro in the country. And yet, we are not able to, as I said, when it comes to global competitiveness, we always fall behind, right? Why is this happening? So I look at 3 levels of gaps. Like I said, I think the public infrastructure also needs to start getting competitive, which means there needs to be more PPPs, there needs to be more public-private partnerships and projects working into this. Second, KPR mentioned this, I think continuities in ideas, right? So we set up talent schemes, talent promotion schemes. It lasts 3 months. And then somebody else comes and changes everything. We need to have continuities, especially in talent, right? School, we work with schools, right? I told you the number of children that we are working with today. What happens is every time there is a change in a chief secretary, every time there's a change in the education department, we will have to start almost all over again. So we are facing multiple issues like that. And I mean, I'm sure every state faces it, but Chennai deserves much better than this. Chennai deserves to be, I don't know what a classification is. Are we a gamma city now or a beta city? I'm not sure. We need to be an alpha city, right? We really need to be a super Chennai. Chennai na super nu solla mudiyano, right? So rather than keep on congratulating ourselves and saying, we have the largest music festival in the world, we have everybody, we have Rajinikanth. I agree with all of that. But everybody needs to be Rajinikanth. And for that to happen, these gaps need to be addressed. This has been my view. I am very proud today to be doing this panel because we worked with, I was telling you, we are bringing professors to work directly on projects with school children so that their competitiveness, their access to talent and ideas improves. 2,500 children of the Chennai port, from Kamarajar Port Trust, fishing community, right? Just this morning, we completed a project-based learning initiative for them, where the fishing community children have beaten private school children in terms of working with data and modeling. Okay, and their professors were from all over the world. English Tamil ரெண்டுத்துலயுமே பண்ணோம். நம்ம பசங்க வந்து நாங்க யார் தெரியுமான்ற லெவலுக்கு வந்து அச்சீவ் பண்ணி காமிச்சிருக்காங்க. இந்த ஆக்சஸ் வந்து எல்லாருக்குமே கிரியேட் பண்ண முடிஞ்சதுன்னா, by the way, everybody here understands Tamil, right? We are in Chennai, we are talking super Chennai. So this needs to be made possible for more and more and more people, right? Rather than rest on our laurels, I would urge everybody to think about each person in this audience is an agent of change. Please think about one thing that you can do for Chennai that can put us into an alpha league, into a global competitive list. One thing that you can do, right? Whatever it may be, in your workplaces, in your ecosystems, in your WhatsApp groups, which become very, very alive during December floods. What are one thing that can be done by each person to maximize talent potential to make us truly superb Chennai?
He has given any option for your son to return. He's made it worse. But let's take it to the next level. So, given what Anil is doing to students in terms of skill development and creativity, Chandru, you work with MSMEs. That's an entirely different universe which doesn't get a lot of representation in a lot of forums. Could you share the overview on how this sector is placed in our city and also around the area? And also, how are you, does this area attract talent? What kind of talent do we get? Is it good quality talent? And how are we nurturing them?
Happy morning to all of you. Would you know that when the Ukraine war broke out and young mothers were killed in Ukraine, it was the portable machines, which were warmers as they are called, manufactured at Tirumudivakam, Chennai, which saved the lives of hundreds and thousands of infants within the first 3 to 4 days. So that is the kind of a MSME I am talking about. If you go back to North Chennai, I was asked to meet a CEO. I was very reluctant. What am I going to get as a business over there with all your preconceived notions? I entered into the CEO's cabin, and sitting there I realized a MSME employing less than 25 employees with an average age of 26 years are designing and manufacturing specialized tools for, you name an automobile in India, they are either the preferred vendor and in few cases, the only vendor. So that is the kind of MSME I'm really talking to you about. As recently as 3 days back, our industries minister, Mr. T.R.B. Raja, was quoting that 30% of Tamil Nadu's industrial output is from MSME, from the overall perspective. And if I take Chennai, it may not be 30% because we have all the industrial giants in various sectors positioned here. But when I go back to the data, I find that 30 lakhs of employees are directly employed by these MSMEs, right? And this is not a number that is just available, but it is also something very close to the reality, because I definitely feel it will be another 10 lakhs because many of them may not have registered with, say, a Udayam portal. This is a kind of a talent, this is a kind of an industry that we are talking about. MSME, I would tell you very confidently, is the sector which takes the first generation skilled graduates into employees. It is they, in all honesty, convert the raw skills into employable people for future. And it is these MSMEs which are spread across the state, across the city. They are not in one or two areas as such. And more importantly, specifically in the context of manufacturing, Tamil Nadu being a manufacturing hub, Chennai being a manufacturing hub, many of these MSMEs are part of their value chain. So something does not do well with an MSME, one of the giants is going to face a problem in their product, in their quality, in their deliverables. So this is a sector that requires, I believe, a lot more attention. For example, we do not even have data in reality. What does this MSME, even in Tamil Nadu we don't have that much, but for Chennai, we don't have much of a data at all. In a world of AI and data, if we can't have any full information, any effort that we are going to take is only be driven by perceptions and to a large extent immediate requirements. The real problems may go unnoticed. So if there is one appeal I would like to make as what can we really do, it is about this. Again, when I look at MSME, I look at talent at 3 levels. One is the business owners themselves. The people with whom I work with, in the last 8 years, I worked with around 60 MSMEs. And I can tell you that the characteristic features of them is they are family-run businesses, they are first-time entrepreneurs, or they are people who left their careers, full-time careers, and started these companies. One of the important things I find there is no problem in terms of finance today. There is no problem in terms of technical expertise, whether they are in product, whether they are in service, manufacturing, or anything in between that. The challenge lies in their management capabilities. So a lot needs to be done with respect to how do we make all of these business owners, they are today operators, day-to-day living, survival mode. We need to make them to think like real strategic people. I'm not here to say that Chennai does not have anybody. In fact, Pandirajan sir did mention about TAI, and he specifically mentioned about the personal board, which is making a humongous impact across Tamil Nadu, also in Chennai, with respect to how these business owners are really shaped. You will be surprised to know, 2 days back I was a speaker elsewhere, a forum called as YES, Young Entrepreneur School, started not from Chennai but from Madurai, which is a big presence across Tamil Nadu. You know what the topic was? The audience were all MSMEs, but the topic was, how do you use AI for your annual operations plan? Step-by-step approach was taken, and it was giving a clarity to a lot of these people how you can use AI for various aspects of your business. So the second appeal that I would have is, a MSME or any organization is as good as its leader. So from Super Chennai, when we are looking at MSMEs, when you're looking at talent, I believe we also need to focus on these MSMEs, and the first one, therefore, is the CEOs. The second aspect which I find in many of these middle managers of these MSMEs out of my experience has been there's a huge gap, right? And we have to remember that many of them are conscious CEOs, founders. They cannot throw money the way a multinational can probably put into its learning and development program. So can there be a set of initiatives that can be taken to specifically empower these middle managers who are working in MSMEs? Because their problems are completely different from what you do with a global organization. For example, they may not have a best-in-class ERP to begin with. Number two, they may not have put in the best of the processes in place. Number three, you are required to compete with the best in the world with all of these inadequacies. And you may not necessarily get the best of the talent to join you. So add to this always the issue of the business owner being control freak for whatever reasons, right? The promoter-driven culture. It is with all of this pressure, a lot of my managers in my MSMEs are struggling today. And I can tell you, sometimes as simple as I teach them few skills in Excel, their productivity increases much more. I teach them some simple logics of how you manage your warehouse. A FIFO method, for example, it becomes better in terms of their inventory control. And the last but not the least, the workforce, the third layer. And it is here what I see is, once again, a lot of these from MSME sector do not come from with a great family pedigree, where the families have been employed or whatever, the environment which they grew, etc. So if I have to put it bluntly, it would look like they lack professionalism, but that is being very rude on them. But they need help, they need support. So what kind of support do they need? What does it mean to get into a very organized work culture? What does it mean to be time conscious? The challenges some of us face are really at that level. Why is it important that you should take ownership? Why is it important you become multi-skilled, right? So a whole lot of things are required to be managed at that level, and that I think is another opportunity where, as Chennai, we can really focus in supporting these MSMEs. So this is one particular aspect which I would like to focus upon for MSMEs, basically.
Right. In a lot of ways, what the problems that are ailing MSMEs are what's ailing overall citizens in Chennai. For instance, we earlier talked about the roads, the infrastructure, how pathetic things are. Chennai airport, of course, you can not even write essay, you can write books. It's that bad. So the question now goes to, what is it that we could do to make Chennai really super Chennai is one, and more importantly, I'd like the panel to address the idea of, we are very good in educating people, but why is it that our junior level talent is always going outside the city or outside the state? Why is Bangalore or Hyderabad becoming the place to go to? We have a Sundar Pichai, but we also have a Satya Nadella, right? So we have a competition between Chennai and Hyderabad. In the same way, if you take specific sectors, we are very good at automotive and other industrials, but we are not even having a foothold in fintech and areas where we can actually compete against Mumbai or Delhi for that matter. So what are some of the things that we could do from a policy side, from a people development side to take this forward?
The only one point I'd like to make, taking on from where Chandru left, I think we have a great set of MSMEs in Chennai. My greater issue is with the larger companies, especially the family-owned larger companies, where along the way they seem to have lost the ability to grow and become world-class enterprises. In my view, there are a lot of great companies here, which first gen, second gen, third gen, and at that point in time, there's a need for preservation, which seem to be taking over. A bit of a spirit of adventure. Just see how many companies, there's IPO boom happening, for instance, last 2 years in this country. See how many companies are coming from Chennai, minuscule, okay, really very, very, very low. And even some of the companies who choose to go, Casa Grande or ourselves, CLHR, for instance, the support network here for institutional investment is very weak. You know, you name the top 10 family-owned businesses in Chennai. They all would have put their money into family offices which run out of Mumbai, not from here. And like, they would all be investing in private equity. I mean, not really into companies which come for a public issue. Okay, you'll be very surprised. You know, I actually had to hire a person from Bombay in order to get funding for my IPO from my own place, from my own Shivagazi Virudhunagar. The guys actually listened to someone who's from Mumbai, you know, to kind of put the money. Okay, I was really, you know, wondering, you know, you go to a Gujarat today, the kind of investment culture that you see here, in my view, unless you have world-class companies of a certain level, the junior people migrating to Bangalore, migrating to Hyderabad, migrating to Bombay is bound to happen. Okay, in the sense, multinationals come here, they give jobs. That's one thing. The entrepreneurs, at somewhere, our ability to leverage on public money is very low here. You know, some more examples of few more companies attempted public issue, failed. Okay, fine. Don't touch public issue another few years. Private equity. How many private equities are operating from here compared to Bombay? Even compared with Bangalore, it's far lesser. In my view, industrial ecosystem at the SME level is great. Okay. But there is really zero pressure for a middle-sized company to become a great company. They all seem to be stabilizing at some level and working at preservation, especially when the generational change happens. Something needs to happen into the investment ecosystem here, in my view. That, I think, can singularly push us into, if CREDAI people are listening, just ask them, why is it that when one of their own really look at a public issue, why no one in that industry supports them? Okay, how many companies are born to die in this construction industry itself, if you were to really look at? You had Chennai, which actually where L&T was born. You know, two Danish engineers come and set up shop and like create that entire engineering base here. They were so entrepreneurial. But what's happening to the rest of the Tamil entrepreneurs, especially the Tamil families which have become entrepreneurs? Generational transition of the spirit of adventure, spirit of seeking something new is not happening. In my view, that's a great HR work to happen in terms of how do you get this to happen. That's the only point I'd like to make here.
See, if you take the three presidencies of India those days, the Bombay presidency, the Calcutta presidency, and the Madras presidency, the number of revolutionaries that were born out of Madras were very, very less. And if you take historically as a nation, we were never really attacked by anybody from outside. We were always safeguarded. And I believe that is the primary reason where we are very respectful, we are very humble, and we are willing to follow what you say. And that is why engineering services, a SaaS model, right? ITES is able to flourish because it sets very clearly with us. Number two, you come after 10:30 p.m. to this flyover, it is locked. You go to this Marina Beach after 11 p.m., there is police chasing you out. And of the entire, I live in Mylapore, very close by. And if I have to go somewhere for nightlife, I have to go to the Gindi Katibara. Under that, thankfully, the government has brought some initiative. You do not want your people to responsibly enjoy your freedom. And you want Gen Z to come and join here? I'm absolutely sorry. That's not happening. It's not about compensation. It's not about the so-called climate, okay? I definitely feel we got to be a little more liberal, trusting our people, checkpoints, rather than policing and going behind them. That is what I would say.
First, I wanted to ask Chandru, where are you going for nightlife? I also want to know. I think, as usual, KPR has said it for all of us. I think complacency is a very big problem. I said it even earlier, that we get satisfied too quickly, right? And being responsible Chennai people, we love to be in bed by 10:30 p.m. We don't really want to try harder than that. I I just wanted to make, in addition to their points, just one point. How many world-class universities, technology or research centers does Chennai currently have? Right? You compare it to anywhere in the world, right? If so much of talent has never been Chennai's problem. Chennai has got incredible, immense amounts of talent, which, as I said earlier, when people clapped before I finished, we are very good at exporting, right? How much of the talent is actually working for Chennai? So talent is not the problem. How do we retain talent? If you want to retain talent, you need to have world-class institutions. If you want to have world-class institutions, like KPR said, we need to invest in Chennai. Like he said, everybody is investing outside Chennai, right? And therefore, the talent goes outside Chennai, number one. Two, creativity has never been Chennai's problem. So we are very good at chest thumping and saying, oh, we are so creative, we have Kacheris, we have Rajnikant, we have this, we have A.R. Rahman, we have everybody, right? But those are all exceptions. The confidence to express creativity and back it with resource, back it with risk, back it with capital, we don't have. That creative confidence to be, I call it creative confidence, the creative confidence to be an entrepreneur. So even if you're a creative professional, you're an entrepreneur, not only if you're running a company, right? That we severely restrict it because, again, that institutional support is not there. So you want complacency to go away, you want creative confidence to come back, institutional mechanisms which drive that, investing in those institutional mechanisms. I would say by 2040, we should be having 10 world-class research institutions in Chennai. If we do that and we start moving towards that, genuinely things will improve.
So I think we have a problem with conservative capital, right? We're not betting big on talent. So that's a big mindset issue. So I'd like to get your view on the mindset, like what kind of a mindset do we want to deploy in this particular moment to change that narrative, right? I mean, if Chennai, you start growing and then after that you go somewhere up and grow bigger and then do something else and then you become a Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella, right? Don't become one here. So how do you change that mindset?
No, I'm going to actually, take a very different stand. I'm going to say build on your strength. Why should not Chennai continue to be seen as the safest city where everybody goes to sleep at 11? Why not? Why should not Chennai actually lean deep into that conservatism and say that this is why we are Chennai, this is who we are, and we'd like to be this way. And maybe my son won't come now, but I think his retirement paradise would be Chennai. I expect probably that to happen. But I'll give you 3 very constructive things to do, which, obviously has been on our minds. We ran a focus group to determine, these 125 cities, which we map as the top cities for women in India. And during one of the focus groups which we were hosting in Bangalore, the women actually said, we feel very comfortable working here, single women. And they said, we feel very comfortable coming to Bangalore and working because the infrastructure for working women is really, really good. And it's safe, we have freedom. It's very close to the, offices where we go to work. And so we are very comfortable and happy coming here, migrating from many, many other cities around India. Equally good cities. Cities where their parents are, cities where they probably grew up, studied, did their graduation, all of that. So now my question is, if we are to make Chennai an absolutely great city for Gen Z women, then I'm sure the men will follow. I think that will definitely happen. So can we actually look at, ways in which, see, today we have these, the pink hostel and the pink services and all the other things. But the women who are moving, after doing their graduations in some of the top institutions outside of Chennai, they don't want to come to Chennai because the infrastructure is not that good. Simple things like signages. Why can't we have English signages everywhere? Forget all the, 3-language model, 2-language model, all that stuff, leave it. English is something everybody understands. Why can't we have more signages in English? Why can't we probably train, everybody we're so educated. If you take women's workforce participation, and India is at, let's say, around 33%, because there's always debate between what is the exact figure that the government wants to talk about today versus what we see on the ground. And if you're looking at the global gender parity sprint, which we spoke about in the Davos, World Economic Forum sessions, and you're talking about that sprint, you're not talking about achieving it, in due course of time. You're talking about a sprint. You want to run towards that, global gender parity. Why can't we make Chennai, the capital of that global gender parity sprint? Why can't we have more and more institutions and organizations which actually make it very comfortable for women to migrate, for working women with families to find that it's very safe, very conservative, very good. You have the best schools here. So please come and, populate our city, populate our Chennai, bring the diversity, which is nothing new to Chennai. Chennai celebrates diversity in every manner. Whether you look at, diversity of thought, diversity of music, diversity of, different kinds of education, definitely religious diversity, and every other form of diversity that's already there here, why can't we actually create ways and means in which young women and early career, mid-career women find Chennai to be a viable place for themselves, their careers, and their families? If we do this, I think, we would have solved the problem, because when women rise, the city thrives. So that's the.
So Dr. Soundarya is putting the woman on top. So make the woman as the model through which the rest of the flock follows. And most importantly, like Mr. Pandirajan pointed out, the capital following the talent is more important. And infrastructure built out is very important, so we attract the right kind of talent. And MSMEs, I think when earlier Mr. Pandirajan pointed out that Chennai never had a union problem, which could be the reason why we are not getting the capital also deployed here. Maybe we should have some wrestling inside organizations to show that, capital has to go to some companies, so you back it. So these are some of the issues we have to grapple with in terms of building the right ecosystem for talent in this city. On that note, I'd like to thank my panelists, and I don't know if I have time for questions. Thanks for the audience.
I'd like to invite Mr. Prakash Challa, the Vice President of CREDAI National, to please present our panelists with a token of our appreciation. Starting off with Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, Managing Director, Avatar Group. Thank you so much, Dr. Soundarya, for joining us today. Mr. K. Pandirajan, Chairperson and Executive Director, CIEL HR Group. Mr. Anil Srinivasan, CEO and co-founder of Crew and founder of Rhapsody. And Mr. Chandru Chakrapani, founder of Pyogic Solutions. And of course, a big thank you to our moderator, Mr. John Xavier, technology editor, The Hindu, and founder of The Boss's Code. Thank you, sir. Can we have a group photo, sir, with everybody? A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And what a great day. Sure, why not? A great way to start the day. And we hope that we're going to be seeing a lot more of interesting conversations as the day goes on. Thank you so much.